I'm Dominic Ponsford, I'm the editor of Press Gazette. I've been at Press Gazette for about 11, 12 years, and before that I worked for various regional newspapers. We get a lot of tip-offs in from readers. Twitter's a great source of stories now. I mean, just to be honest, just sort of covering all the various trials that are going along at the moment with journalists being prosecuted for payments to public officials and hacking and stuff and so on. And that's just enough. That'll be enough to keep us busy on its own. So there's no sort of shortage of stuff really. I think the real importance of Press Gazette is we're kind of a bit of a watchdog on journalists. So since the Leveson inquiry, but even before that, journalism's a really important industry. It holds everyone else to account. So you need a publication that holds journalists to account. It's kind of vital really for democracy and the health of the industry that there's someone doing that. And then also you need someone to cheerlead for the industry really and fight its battles for it, fight its corner. The big thing we've done this year has been the Save Our Sources campaign. We've campaigned on against state surveillance of journalists' telecom records, and that's been a sort of huge success for us really, because we've actually got the law changed. Yeah, well, we don't really try to be impartial. Well, we report the news without fear or favour, and we do it fairly, but we kind of wear our hearts on our sleeve to the extent that we're very sort of pro-journalists and pro-journalism. Everything we do comes from that angle. So the news is the news, and when journalists do something bad, we report it. When they do something good, we report it. But our choice of stories and what we choose to do is we, informed by the fact that we're kind of for journalists and for journalism. You sort of you walk a tightrope because no one likes any negative stories written about them. I sort of take the view that the industry's too important just to give it a big old cuddle every day. So you've got to kind of hold it to account. So you do fall out with people, but I'd say on the whole, we've got a pretty good relationship, and people generally think we're pretty fair. Occasionally you'll do a story and you'll just know, I've kind of burnt my bridges with that person, or I'm going to fall out with that publication a little bit for a while. There's not really much you can do about that. If it's an important story, you've kind of got to cover it. I mean, the best thing you can do is really just to be as fair to people as you can, give them the opportunity to put their side of it across, and try and do it in as fair a way as you can. Really, the biggest story for us has been the police viewing the phone records of the Sun. The Operation Alice report last year revealed that the police had secretly viewed telecoms records at the Sun news desk and the political editor Tom Newton-Dunn. So we were the first people to spot that. We wrote, it's buried in this 56-page report. No one else spotted it. We did. We made a huge thing about it. I mean, that was a huge story for us. Well, it's been sort of catastrophic, really. If you think that it led to the closure of the news of the world, it's led to massive loss of trust in sort of tabloid journalism, which still hasn't really been recovered. I think people still have huge trust in the BBC, in local newspapers, and also probably quality newspapers or broadsheet newspapers. I think the tabloids have got the image problem really when it comes to trust, and so they've got that's what they got. That's what they got to earn back. I think it's going to be quite hard for them to do that. Well, I think Ipso's kind of yet to prove itself really. I think it's well intentioned, but the problem with it is it's the Independent Press Standards Organisation, but it's not independent because it's run by the industry and to a certain extent controlled by the industry. So it's still kind of got to prove itself. I think the early signs are that it's doing a good job as a regulator. I think it's just the extent to which it's going to get its teeth stuck into the more difficult things that come along. So there's a big scandal a few months ago with the Telegraph, giving scant coverage to the HSBC scandal, because the HSBC is a big advertiser of the Telegraph. I don't know whether it certainly doesn't show much sign of getting involved in that, but I think those are the sort of issues it should get involved in if it's really sort of serious about improving standards. I think things aren't looking too bad, really. I mean, so we haven't lost a national newspaper yet. We actually gained one, if you've really got the eye. Most of the regional newspapers have survived, albeit everyone's print circulations are under a lot of pressure. But at the same time, there's a lot of really exciting things happening in digital media to replace all that's being lost in print. So Mail Online, for all its good or bad, is employing hundreds and hundreds of journalists and showing real signs of making a go of it in terms of a major news organisation with major resources online. You've got startups like BuzzFeed and Vice that are investing a lot now in original journalism. You've got BT.com is a new kind of news portal. They're investing quite a lot in journalism online. So I think the signs are pretty encouraging, really. Print circulations are in decline pretty much across the Western world, but having said that, I don't think there's any sign that print's going to end soon. And if you look at the success of things like the Evening Standard and Metro, more people are very, very happy to read print. They're just not so sure about paying for it. So they're not going to pay for it unless it's really good quality that you can't get anywhere else. So for instance, Private Eye does extremely well in print. It doesn't really have much of a web presence to speak of. The Economist does incredibly well in print. The Times is growing its print circulation. So print's not dead by any means. Well, we sort of really, for journalists, we found that they're so sort of techno savvy that it's very difficult to give them something new in print that they don't know already. So you can, so a weekly magazine was hard to pull off, really, when there's so much kind of media news out there. The economics of it just didn't really stack up. It's getting journalists to spend money on things. It's tough, and the advertising market's very tough. The advertisers really moved online, in terms of jobs and so on. So it really made sense for us to kind of just focus on online and do that really well. It's incredible how much ground you can cover, really, working digitally compared to when you work in print, because there's so much less kind of admin involved. You just bang the stories out, get them up, and move on to the next thing. And it's quite gratifying, because when you get a big story, you can get it out there straight away, and you can see instantly how many people are reading it and how many people are tweeting it, and it has immediate impact. Well, for Press Gazette, we've got a good audience online. It'd be good to expand that audience a bit more. Maybe look at more of an international approach. I guess the big thing for us is to crack the way of sort of making a serious amount of money out of it, so we can employ more journalists and build ourselves back up to being a sort of the size of editorial operation we were a few years ago. We still haven't cracked that, but we're that's what we're going to have to work on.